last 3 therapists haven't called me back, so it's a bit of a sticky wicket as it were. So I work at a convenience store. I work the graveyard shift at a convenience store, and quite frankly, it's a big pile of shit. Oh yeah, hilarious, except when you work at that. So the other day I had a man come in who, quite frankly, personified the big steaming pile of shit that is my job. Enter the fat man. A man so huge, so rotund that not only does he have a front butt, he's got 2 side butts as well. Asses coming and going. A man so huge that when the doorbell goes off, I waited several seconds and then it went off again because it wasn't done coming into the fucking store. And so this man comes rolling into my store. Thankfully there was no one else in the store, or else there would have been like that scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark when Indiana Jones is running from that boulder. It's like, no! I swear, it was only the momentum of him getting out of his car that made him proceed as quick as he did. So he comes into my store, and he's holding what looks like a bucket. Now I don't know what this bucket was for, but I find out in due course. But first of all, his momentum wears off and he arrives at the grill, where we generally keep hot dogs and taquitos and things of the like. And he looks down at the grill, which is empty at this point, because it's 3 a.m. I'm not going to keep shit on that long. He looks down at the grill, looks up at me, looks down at the grill, looks back at me, and says, "Do you have any hot dogs?" I'm like, "Of course we didn't have any hot dogs! You looked at the grill, you looked at me, you looked at the grill, you looked at me. Of course there are no bloody hot dogs on the grill!" Of course I didn't say that. I want to keep my job. Not really, but... So he lets out a vast heaving and proceeds to swing his bulk around and throw it back towards the back of the store, towards the slurping machine. And I just suddenly realized what that bucket was for. Because this man was not content with the half-gallon size that we offer. No, he needed a whole fucking bucket. That would be more appropriate for picking turnips in a field. And it's at this point, with his back turned to me, as he's looking at this slurping machine as though it's the loving and beautiful face of God, that I noticed something horrible and beautiful at the same time. This man's pants were down towards his thighs, which were admittedly vast in their expanse, but not vast enough. So this man's ass was hanging out and winking at me. Now I've got to figure he must know that his ass is hanging out. If not a crossbreed, then at least a curious dog. But no, it's just there, looking at me, like it's hungry. And I'm at the same time, I'm in awe and horrified. It's like a glorious nightmare just pulsating. Yeah. But then he turns and it's taken from my vision, so it's all right. And he says, "Do you not have any cherry Slurpee?" And I'm like, "Of course we didn't have any cherry Slurpee! Look at the fucking board of Slurpees, there's no cherry Slurpee there. Do you think we have any just stored in the back that I can go and scoop you some out in your giant radish bucket? No, of course not!" Of course I don't say that. I want to keep it. So after a moment of consideration, he fills up his massive bucket with Coke Slurpee. The second best, of course. And so then he proceeds to swing himself back around, the bucket resting firmly on his gut, and proceeds to waddle through the rest of my store, making a sound that came out of one of my nightmares. It was this horrible sucking sound, like a man trying to suck a golf ball through a garden hose. Like a man trying to blend seaweed in a garbage disposal. Like a man who's trying to fuck a wet plastic bag. Just a... I looked on in stunned amazement. And he makes his way to the candy aisle. And I know what's coming. Because of the two things he's looked for, they've not been there. So of course he's going to go for the Skittles, because we're out of Skittles. And I know this. And I think he knows this too. But he gets there anyway. And he looks at the Skittles that aren't there. And looks at me. And looks at the Skittles. And looks at me. And he says, do you have any Skittles in the back? And I say, of course we don't have any Skittles in the back! Don't look like a man who's going to go in the back and get things! No, of course not! And that one actually did kind of slip out. But the real funny bit of all this, the real gutbuster in all of this shenanigans is that I don't even speak in a Scottish accent.
He's perfectly willing to go back, of course.